I'm glad. I guess what I'm saying is I'm glad that it's an interesting series because I felt like after watching the highlights from Game One, after hearing about Game One, the, it seemed kind of concerning. Like after that, the second time the Warriors and the Cavs played in the finals, and like the Warriors, I think won, like dominated the first two games.
It was one of the most pathetic performances I've ever seen in an NBA Finals. I watched the Los Angeles Lakers lose a game by 40 in the NBA Finals, and even they looked better than the Cleveland Cavaliers look tonight.
I think this is when they blew the 3-1 lead.
Yeah.
And everybody thought the series was going to be over. This is not even like going to be that interesting. And it just obviously tables completely turned. But I mean, which adds to the lore of those years where those guys were playing, because even if people were watching to see LeBron lose or watching to see the Warriors lose or rooting for one of those teams or constantly on the verge of saying they're tired of seeing these guys in there, it's just like that was just history.
Yeah, I feel like those finals like ruined basketball for two reasons. One, it was like, well, who even cares about the regular season? Like in that time, it ruined basketball because you knew who was going to be in the finals, and it happened 4 straight years, right? It was the Warriors versus the Cavs. I mean, you didn't really know so much the first year, but kind of the years after that, it was kind of obvious who was going. And then, but looking at it now, it's just like, I mean, even though the Cavs got absolutely dominated once the Warriors got Durant, especially those first 2 years, it's like it's just hard to live up to those finals again. I mean, you had like one of the greatest teams of all time going up against one of the greatest players of all time of our generation, at least, and
Matthew Dellavedova.
Yeah, dude, Delly against Festus Ezeli. Just a huge matchup. So it's just like looking at it now, and maybe it's lame as me, and maybe you want to call me a casual or whatever insult you throw my way. I don't know. Just Jokic and Butler just doesn't have the hype for me as it did LeBron versus Steph or LeBron versus the dynasty of the Warriors. I don't know. It might take a couple of years for me to just kind of get back to reality, but those finals definitely elevated it to the next level where it just kind of became a standard for those several years.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would like push back on that because I would say that this finals is almost kind of reviving things. I mean,
I agree.
I don't know how much people felt last season. I mean, that was kind of cool to see. Like, it was kind of dependent on how you felt about Steph Curry more than anybody else, really. Because if you're a strong Steph Curry fan, like that was a great finals. But if you could just kind of care less and you just don't really care for the Warriors and you're tired of them, which is understandable, maybe that's not as exciting. But there's something about like you have this kind of guy playing hero ball all playoffs long. Now he's kind of had some down games as of late, but still, it's like Jimmy Butler is just like become just an icon at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just like Jokic. Like everybody keeps sharing the photo of him as like a kid with his shirt off. Like this guy is currently the best player in basketball right now. And it's just like, yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. There's something about like, and I don't know, maybe this is for younger people, like hard Zoomers, but it's like, there's got to be something like another picture that keeps getting shared is that picture of him wearing the shirt like I paused my game to be here, and I'm just like that's such a stupid shirt, but I'm like, you know what, that there's so many people that resonate with that are younger than me probably, and it's just like
I don't know if I've ever seen this picture. I paused my
like
game to be here.
Yeah, it's like a t-shirt he's wearing in the locker room after the game, and I don't know, there's just something of kind of these two characters, these two teams too, that are like, I don't know. I saw a tweet where it's like this finals is perfect encapsulation of I think of millennials in like that could happen because you have like the one millennial group that's like the crypto bro represented by Miami, and then you have like the other millennial that is like the wannabe kind of rural kind of small time folk in Denver, and I don't know, it was something to that effect. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I'm like, I kind of feel like the NBA is kind of creating a different thing here. They're doing something new that's still kind of intriguing. It's not just like, oh, Chris Paul's trying to get a ring. Or like, look at Giannis. It's like these guys like they add something. They kind of have like a not like a WWE element, thank God, but it's like they have an element to them that is a little bit more than basketball. On top of being exceptionally good players, and they have a pretty good supporting casts around them, you know. So
yeah, I read something today where it said something about Jokic where he's like more like invested in his horses than basketball or something. I don't know if that was true. I'm like, I don't know. I believe it. Did you see that, or am I crazy?
No, you know what? He's gangster. I love Jokic. He's like a big Hasbulla. You know? I don't know.
Horse racing.
Like betting on it?
Um
Or having a horse that he owns.
He has a horse racing hobby.
That's so funny.
He enjoys taking care of horses in the stable. God, and I think he's riding a horse. I don't know.
Yeah,
clearly wouldn't be a good jockey.
No. No, not at all.
I love that shirt.
Yeah, Jokic, man. He's a relatable guy. But that's my argument. Jokic. That's my argument for this finals. I really do. I find it compelling in that sense that it's just kind of like if you take it from like you have like a humored approach to it. It's kind of fun, you know. It's like there's not. I mean, Giannis is a good guy, but it's like there's nothing fun about like Giannis and Chris Paul. The funniest thing that ever happened about Chris Paul is when Kanye tweeted that one thing of his picture about his wife. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
It's like when it was like right before Kanye was going to get kicked off of Twitter because he was saying all this shit. Uh-huh. He posted a picture of Chris Paul. And he's like, "Yo, by the way, before I'm out, I found this guy in bed with Kim," which was his wife.
Oh, you're right. Okay, I thought you were talking about Chris Paul's wife. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I do remember that.
Clarified. Yeah, it's just my point is like I don't know, like I don't really care about Chris Paul unless it's like juicy stuff like that. maybe we're getting a little away from basketball, but I my overall thesis here is that I'm a fan of this NBA Finals, and when I haven't been 2 of the last 3 years.
I like this one comment about Kanye tweeting that about Chris Paul. It's like, Chris Paul really about to lose his only ring because he's married.